And I'm frozen. 1 second.
Lovely.
Do one of these, one of those, and I'm moving. And we're grooving, and we're going to the something. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to another episode of Good Morning NASDAQ from the Clover Trading YouTube channel. We do this every morning, 8:45 a.m. Right here on the channel, Clover Trading. That's what we do. We talk about the pre-market runners, the gappers. We go through a little bit of dilution, some fundamentals. We talk about the daily charts, if we're looking to play them or not. We just try to have a good time. We have guests from time to time. I'm usually here, but I've been gone the last few days. So happy to be back. I won't be taking a break that long for a long time. We're happy to be joined by Mr. Kyle Williams as well. Welcome in, Kyle Williams, an absolute trooper, getting up, running the show the last week, early in the morning on the West Coast. Could not be more grateful for that great man. It is the 9th day of October, 2023. Last night, if you missed it on Good Morning on Wine Wednesday, I was caught up on everything I missed over the last few trading days. We got some tickers we can talk about. We got a gapper or two this morning. If we also want to start, because I know Kyle has been talking about this the last few days, actually a lot longer than that with this AMC offering. But we did just get some news here right out of the gate. So let's dive into it.
I'm honestly, guys, kind of thrown off. If you guys have heard me talk about it, at least for the 4-leaf clovers when I talk about the webinars and stuff, they've got $2 billion of debt due in 2026. So we're almost ending 2023. We've got 2 years left. You know, it seems like a long time, but at the same time, you can't just somehow pull $2 billion out of your ass. Sorry, excuse my French, right? And just throw it on the table. Like usually there's kind of some repayment process. Not only that, they usually lose money every quarter. Now, granted, last quarter they actually made some money. They made like 13 million. Again, if you know how big a billion is, you know, a billion is 1,000 million. So like 13 million is minuscule to their actual bottom line of what they, have to pay off. And so after the earnings, it would just threw me off because I listened to the earnings call and they were like, yeah, we have $700 million in cash. I'm like, oh, like they've got, call it 40% of what they need to pay back. Like what's the granted, they might keep losing money. So they have to maybe raise it eventually in maybe a year. But I just didn't expect what they said to result. Like it kind of deterred me away from thinking maybe they won't do an ATM offering. Like maybe it won't happen. But here we are. And yeah, they did it. Apparently 700 million is not enough. They need more. So here we are. It's and I'm sure you could pull it up down with dilution tracker or whatever, but it's I believe it's last time it was $1, or last time it was a share amount. Last time it was 40 million shares. This time it's up to a dollar amount, right? I think it's up to, well, no, it says, and I'm seeing $350 million worth, but then I'm also seeing.
I haven't been able to find it. Where are you looking? You just look in the filings?
I'm looking through BAM SEC. Yeah, they have a 424B5 out.
This morning, yeah, I see it. Okay, let me get that.
Yeah, it says up to 350 million, but then it also says up to 233 million shares. So that's just the equivalent price that they think they're going to get at it. I mean, let me do that math. What does that math to? Either way, it's at the market offering. It says manner of the offering at the market, so they can sell however, whenever.
That's a very key word for everyone out there. That means there's not a specific price they need to wait for it to hit like a warrant. They can just sell them all day long whenever they want, correct?
Right.
And those are dangerous ones, and that's when we see those in the filings on these gappers. We get a little tingly inside if there's a beaten down chart or a history of failure on day one, just because they're completely incentivized to sell. And whenever the price is significantly higher, just means more money in their pockets. But yeah, it's kind of funny how predictable this stuff is, but also not predictable. Like I remember last night on Wine Wednesday, you were like, I don't think we're gonna get it. I'll probably just sit back and wait. The earnings were good. I saw their cash statements and how much money they have, and it's still like clockwork. Earnings yesterday, financing today, and it's just funny.
Right. It's just, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to question it. It's clearly here, but yeah, just weird. I don't know. When they said 700 million, I'm like, wow, that was way better than I thought.
And
So,
did we get a piece of this or no?
the actual news, no. But if it's anything like last offering, this is just the beginning. So I have no problem being, I've been getting short here before we started the show up in the, as high as 860, 850, 840, 830. I pretty much I've added and entered into this whole like downward second move here. Um, Again, mainly because I still think, last ATM offering, like it doesn't have to work out exactly like last time, but gap down from 13s all the way down to 12, and then proceeded to sell off down to as low as like mid eights. And honestly, by the time the offering was over, it actually had touched low sevens. So, um, I have no idea about price targets, but it would not shock me to break the low seven support, possibly see into the sixes, maybe the fives if it gets really ugly. But we'll see. Again, at the market means they don't have to use it. So if they're just making it a thing, just to have some and never use it, then I could be taking a loss. We'll find out. I mean, it's very unlikely that's the case, but um, I'm just going to keep reacting to how we're looking. So
I'm gonna ask a noob question. Can they sell their ATM in pre-market?
I think they can. Yes.
Okay. Is that a case by
And
case, or is that
if
all
they
the time?
can't, then that's even sucks for them because it's like, and put it this way, yeah, if that was the rule, I would imagine they'd want to be smart about it and put out the offering like at like 929,
Yeah.
like right before, because they've just given away 18%
Yeah.
of potential share price that they could have sold their ATM into. So I would have to imagine they can already. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's the AMC scoop for the morning. I saw some people in Clover nailed it on the news, so congratulations. That's one we'll be watching this morning for sure. Kind of a negative gapper, if you will. One
Yeah.
that we're looking to attack more weakness on. All right. The next gap later we have is ASTR for today. Let me get over here. Not as fluent. I took a week off. I'm not as fluent in moving the sticks. ASTR, Astra Space.
ASTR.
Overall risk. Let's get to the dilution checker real quick. Go through that before we go into the daily. 10 mil float. This company designs, tests,
Nice.
manufactures, launches, and operates space products and services. That's a cool thing to do. Negative 1 month of cash left. What price are we at right now? 130s? Not registered. They have a $65 million ATM registered from July.
There you have it. That's interesting. Okay.
And they are up 79% this morning. Is this
From,
trying
from July, that means they have not had a volume day, a significantly large volume day since today. So, if there's a time for them to use that ATM, very similar to AMC, it would be into this gap up. AMC doesn't care, but hey, companies that aren't as liquid as AMC, probably do. So ASTR, that definitely makes it bearish to start.
They had a split. What looks like it was September 14th. So that's why I'm looking at the chart and I'm seeing hundreds and I'm like, this stock hasn't done anything. So they did a reverse split a couple months ago to regain compliance. I don't know if they did regain compliance. Oh, they did regain it. All right. So they can do whatever they want now.
There you go.
Okay. That's cool. From a daily chart perspective, like Kyle said, there's really not much to play off of as I go. I like to start at the fresh time and then continue back further and further till I see something interesting. We have really already done this morning in pre-market more volume than any other day in the last 2 years, 3 years. I think that's all time. So this is a pretty fresh chart, pretty much just beaten down since the start of its existence in 2021, where it's just worked its way lower and lower and lower, and now we've sat, in the sub-dollar range recently, gapping into the dollar range, up 80%, clean pre-market. Really the only stats that are on your side here, there's not a lot to go off of daily chart-wise technically to kind of say that this should fail based off of previous gap history. You're going more off of fundamentals, the fact that they do have an ATM, the fact that they do need cash. What did the news say today? Did you see any?
What was the ticker? I lost the I forgot.
ASTR.
Oh, we're still on that one. Sorry, I was like, I thought for some reason I thought we were on a new Gabber.
No,
ASTR. Let
I
me
don't
just.
see any news on Yahoo
If there's
either.
no news, that's even more not bullish.
Yeah, and then
I see a Seeking Alpha article here.
I'm sure someone will tell me here in a second.
Oh, yeah. Astra Space shares surge pre-market as founders offer to buy outstanding stock. So let me I don't know if it's an insider buy or it's a just a bunch of just more talk than action, right? Have like that PR makes it sound
happened?
like
yeah,
it's like the PR makes it sound like they're going to but haven't.
They had an 8K.
Yeah, the 8K. What does the 8K say? Oh yeah, an offering to acquire all outstanding common stock of the company, not currently owned by Mr. Kemp and Dr. London, for a price of $150 per share in cash. Oh, interesting. So we have a reverse gap on AMC. Do we have a reverse offering on ASTR?
Is that what that means?
I don't know. I mean, this offer price represents a premium of 123%, closing price of 74. So it's like it's almost their 28 volume weighted average price. Weird. So like they're offering to buy it at 150 in cash, but it's like obviously a proposal, because if they actually were buying them out, it would be like a buyout, and this thing would just trade sideways at 150. So
yeah, that's what I'm trying to wonder if that's what it is or not.
Well, that makes it more difficult, because even if they have the ATM, either I would think they'd say, why use it when they're going to get bought out for 150 or what, for 150 for cash, or two, still use it and then still get bought out at 150 per cash. I don't know. This is kind of I've never seen news like this in this particular context and manner, so I'm not really sure what to make of it, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, these ones are always confusing because you kind of have to decide really quickly, talk to some people, learn what that means, what the news means, the fundamentals, or you just kind of play the chart, the stats of gap and craps. It's kind of tricky. I remember Duck saying one time, like, he doesn't take trades if there's conflicting criteria, and when there's a lot more unknowns, and you don't quite, it's not as black and white as they have an ATM, or there's good or bad news, or this stock fails every time it gaps up. They can be quite tricky, and yeah, that's something we'll have to see if anyone smarter than us knows more about, and definitely something we'll learn from this type of news, because it's kind of interesting. All right, the next one on the list, and someone was commenting about it, INBS.
BS, all right.
And they wrote about it with a slash with Jan, so I wonder if they're connected. This one's up 70% as well. Low price stock, 38 cents. 4 months of cash, 9 million float. News 16 hours ago as earnings. Okay. 55 cents. Some warrants. Nothing too special there. Kind of on these low price stocks, though. Really nothing there for me on day one. Not going to be just buying this out of the gate. It's not a low float runner, even though I probably wouldn't buy low float runners out of the gate either. Just having it been a cheap stock. Most of these have failed. I can't remember one that succeeded on day one in the last few months. So this price range has been pretty dead on the gaps. And that's pretty much enough for me to kind of just ignore, just because it's so outside my interest. Only one real run back in the day. I'm guessing that's a reverse split as well, because I just don't believe it was $30 a share this year, but maybe it was.
Right, maybe. Yeah, who knows? Because I don't know. INBS kind of rings a bell. I feel like I would have remembered it, but also, regardless whether it's split or not, it's a huge gap. Even if it no
Yeah.
split, it went from 5 to 20. Um, but yeah, hard to, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, one that I would definitely just leave alone. Not up enough, and not high enough price to really want to short for a gap and crap. And just based off history of gappers in this price range, failing so consistently, I'm not all that interested until I saw like one or two or three of them start to work, and I was playing some sort of behavior. Um, there was another one on here, but let's see, CDNA or Jan. Same type of thing with Jan. This one though has a little more daily chart history that kind of makes me even less interested. Um, a lot of wicks every time the stock has ever gotten any sort of significant volume are doing more volume. Was that after hours yesterday? Why is there such a big volume candle? Okay, so yesterday at 4 o'clock went from 36 to 64, and right now we're just kind of mid-range in that area. So it's already had a significant spike. But daily chart history here does say that it spikes out of the gate before closing right near the lows. But it's in the same type of price range that doesn't interest me. And I guess I go back further on the daily chart, there's even more failure everywhere with wicks on good volume. Specifically these days right here, this is where I'm going to take my most interest is when the stock has done the most volume. What is the price action that followed? We had a huge doji day one, followed by a giant gap and fade. Big gap
Which
up
one's
with
this?
JAN.
Which ticker is this one? Jan.
Jan.
This was a hot runner back in the day.
How far back?
Right? I want to say like 2020, 2019.
2021.
20. Yeah, there it is. Yep. The 30. Little squeezer.
Wow.
See, I knew I'd recognize my runners.
That's
INBS.
Maybe they're together. I don't know. But ever since then, it's pretty much been buried in resistance on its slow, decrepit fade down to the 40-cent area or lower. Really has struggled to break a previous high on the daily chart. So something like this, I would be, as a long bias trader, interested to see that trend break over time. Wait for that initial move, some consolidation. But here on day one, not a lot of interest, especially because you have decent, more volume yesterday and after hours than we've traded so far pre-market. So we'll see what kind of volume comes in at the open. But we're already, buried in some resistance within a 50% move just to get to yesterday's after hours highs. All right, let's look at some questions. Top of the morning, homies. The blessings in the wake up. I believe that. What do you think of MOTS considering all the previous reverse split runners? Do you believe it might get picked up for a quick run, maybe today or next few days for a run with the current volume? That's not something either of us do. Oh, they're getting some volume today. But is today the day of the reverse split? Or is it a previous reverse split? So I thought that pattern was wait for the reverse split. They fade off for a couple days, and then they just kind of get pumped for a day, have a PR, and with the new float, they rip it.
Yeah, that pattern hasn't been around a while. It's kind of been a...
That was Roland's special.
Yeah, that was a bread and butter.
MOTS. I just saw ATM somewhere. Well, nothing left on it. Let's see when the reverse split was. I don't know. In short, I'm not interested. No, because that's not really a technical pattern. It's more of, kind of what Kyle's doing with AMC is just understanding some sort of inefficiency in the market and playing the ensuing action because he knows what it looks like. But there's no guarantee that any recent reverse split has to run again, especially if they got everything they need out of the reverse split with their compliance and whatnot. November 1st was the day. Does that make sense? November 2nd. This chart's weird. I feel like someone told me recently there was a couple reverse splits that ran. But not really something that I'm all that interested in just because there's no real way to technically play it versus just buying a recent reverse split into weakness and praying that they PR, which is not really how I got to where I am. And I don't think Jim Bob Cooter over here is going to do it either.
No.
This is yet another great reason that float checker existed. Someone says, where do you see 9 million float for INBS? Stats of trade shows 2.1 million. I'd be able to go through all of them real quick and see what everyone says. But dilution tracker is, I see 9.6.
I believe it.
Another person says MOTS reverse
Moats.
low flit reverse split theme.
Moats.
That didn't come across my desk. Simon asked, do you think CDIO will go to $1 today?
Possible. Yeah, this definitely is a pretty decent gap down, 8% here. Definitely a lower gap down than I expected. Then again, I also, if I was here a little bit earlier, it did actually just pop over red green pre-market.
Went to 140, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so not the cleanest of gap downs. Maybe there's still a morning spike, but I do think if I was going to get short, I'd want to get short as close to red green as possible. Probably risking some previous bounce high from yesterday. Let me look at the chart. I mean, probably somewhere in the 140s, just because there's quite a couple. There's 2 or 3 bounces now where that was a good resistance level. And then for downside, I mean, when I look at the daily chart, I think it should do $1, but given how yesterday went, given how some previous red days in its previous runs have gone, it's not one to have a pretty large range of a red candle to the downside. So yes, $1 is possible, but it wouldn't shock me to only see it go to 110, 115, like another kind of smaller range red candle, just almost like repeat yesterday's candle onto today. It's like it looks like we'd only go to the 1-teens. But again, I could be dead wrong. I hope for the sake of anyone who gets short is dead wrong and it goes to 1, it'd be a pretty sweet short then. But I don't think it has much range in terms of downside. Maybe in terms of range overall, like again, if it spikes and it's choppy, then it's going to have range back and forth. But history doesn't tell us it has large moves to the downside.
Okay, there you have it. Let me see. Austin says CDAO first red day or re-breakout. Today we'll give you a lot of information on that. Yeah, if you're a super long bias trader, not really into shorting, these are the type of charts to have on your watch. You don't need to be trading them. You don't even need to be watching them all that close. You need to have them on a chart in the corner and go, the chart I would have is like this chart without extended hours, the entire run. And I would just kind of wait and see, okay, if I watch it for a day or two, or especially today, notice that 120 can't convincingly break down and we keep bouncing back in the 130s, 140s, and then we start holding a little higher. Then I start to build the picture and the thesis of, where the shorts stuck from, how patient are they? Kyle thinks 1 is possible. I think that might even be conservative. So you might have people who are holding a little bit longer, people who are attacking today because yesterday was kind of a crappy first red day. But you don't need to trade to learn all that information. Eventually, in a day or two, you have a thesis that, okay, this stock was supposed to be a lot lower, should have tested $1, and it's only, can't break below 120, and now it can't break below 130, and now it can't break below 140. And then maybe it's a re-breakout. But today we'll kind of tell you that answer, because if it's a bloody day down to 1 and then gaps down tomorrow to 90 cents, I don't think it's breaking out again. But if it can't break yesterday's lows today and it's just a small red day or small green day, there's more potential. And then your thesis gets a little stronger if that's what you're looking for. Someone says that reverse split is a theme that LIFW started. Yeah, when did that one do its reverse split though? Was it back here or was it in this stretch?
I don't remember when that one did it.
Because I know that was a lowest price stock when we talked about it.
I think it did it after the run in September.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I feel like that run in September was a
sub. It was a low price stock, yeah.
Right. And then so sometime in October they had to have done the split.
Okay. You see at least that one set up kind of in a multi-day pattern though, and like spiked, went sideways, versus some of them I feel like you're just buying weakness. Okay, making sure there's no last second gappers on the list. Tenon. I know Kyle's probably watching that one. I saw a slight gap up on that earlier. Now we're gapping down.
I haven't even.
You're too interested in AMC.
I haven't even looked at. Yeah, I tried to borrow shares on Tina, which I told myself I was going to do earlier.
That's
So
why you were here.
if you wait too long, there's none left. There's no borrow.
They're already gone.
Let me check one more. And no, none. So that won't be on my watch.
Some tickers just be like that.
It'd be like that sometimes.
You know, so I always kind of hope. I always try to find the positive whenever you can't find borrows, and you really wanted them the day of or the entire run up, and you just kind of hope that it's a black swan or something, and that's saving you from a disaster or something.
Right, you're actually happy you didn't get shares.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like that a little bit on LIFW when it went to 18, because it's like I saw the parabolic and I was like, okay, you know, if we're being honest, like without really using hindsight, it's like how well would I really have traded this parabolic? And considering how I've traded parabolics the last 2 or 3 weeks, I probably would have lost money. You know, maybe I would have lost money and then scratched it out to be green at the end of it. But by how wacky and quick it was, it was not one that I could confidently have said like, or had that feeling of like FOMO, like, oh, I would have made so much money. Like, no, it was one that I was like, you know what, I don't really care to miss this because I just don't see it being a smooth, easy thing for me. So, you know.
Yeah, I see that. I see a few parabolics that could have gotten you tricky. The first one to 9, if you didn't take the profits,
right?
And then you're definitely attacking the one to 16 if you've already committed. You might have covered that one though, down in the 12s.
That's the one that might have made my money back, right? You know. So.
And then that stuff moved right into the highs.
Yeah.
But all right. Thank you, Kyle, for joining us this morning. It's 9:16. We're going to head on over to the Clover room. Let me check the like ratio right now. 61, just a few shy. If you guys want to hit that like button on your way out, make sure you're subscribed to the channel right here on the Clover Trading YouTube. If you like what you see and you want more of it, we do webinars, video lessons, trade alerts, watch list, chat room over at clovertrading.io. Link in the description. Get yourself 7 days for $7. We call that the 7-day trial. And I'll get you access to everything for a week, and you're probably going to love it and want to stay. That's what the stats show. And we do multiple webinars a week. I got one tomorrow with Huddy. Kyle probably already did his this week, but if you any day you join, you're going to get at least 2 webinars. So there we go, up to 70 likes. That was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But it is Thursday? I think someone commented I said October. Yeah, I guess it is November now. I spent the first 7 days of November in the woods. But you'll be here live tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. Make sure you have that bell icon clicked on so you get notified when we go live. If you forget in the morning or you forgot that Wine Wednesday exists, we do that every Wednesday as well, 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. We'll see everyone here tomorrow. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for being here. We're extremely grateful for all of you. And right now we're going to head on over to the Clover community. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay safe out there, and good luck.